Cursor just dropped their latest model, Composer 2.5, and I'm not going to lie, it might be the best new AI coding model that we've seen in a while. And the reason for that is not because it's any better than Opus 4.7 or GPT 5.5, it's actually for two other completely different reasons that I'm going to go into in this video. And I'm also going to break down why you might want to give Cursor a shot again if you've been using Codex or Claude Code instead. So in this video, we're going to break down what is Composer 2.5 from Cursor, how to use Composer 2.5 inside of Cursor to build, and whether Composer 2.5 is actually the best AI coding model or not. If you don't know me, my name is Chris, and for the last 15 years I've been designing apps and advising startups on product and design. And if you are building with AI and you want to build alongside 250 other people, building real software and projects and launching them to real paying customers, then I've got a community for that, and you can find out more information in the link in the description down below. Otherwise, let's jump straight into Cursor, show you Composer 2.5 so that you can get started building with this new model. So before we actually start using Composer 2.5, I want to break down some of the benchmarks around Composer 2.5 just to give you an idea of where it sits alongside Opus 4.7 and GPT 5.5 from OpenAI, because those are the leading AI coding models at the moment. They're the frontier models from the frontier labs. And what's interesting about what Cursor are doing with Composer 2.5 is I think they're really specifically training a model to be very, very capable and good at coding without worrying about too much of the other stuff like writing, creativity, or agent use for other applications outside of coding. And so this model is really capable when it comes to coding, and you can see from the benchmarks here that this is basically just as good as the leading models from OpenAI and Anthropic, where you can see that Composer 2 was noticeably behind these models. But what's incredible about what Cursor have done with Composer 2.5 is not that it's as good as these models, which is incredible in itself, but the fact that it is up to 10 times more efficient than these models from an average cost per task point of view. This means that you're getting the same level of quality as GPT 5.5 set on high, or Opus 4.7 set on X high, and even better than that in some instances with Composer 2.5. And on top of that, you also get a model that is incredibly fast, much faster than GPT 5.5 and Opus 4.7 as well. And so those are really the things that we have in play here with Composer 2.5, is an incredibly capable AI coding model that is incredibly fast and incredibly cheap compared to the leading models from OpenAI and Anthropic. And I think this is going to be something that is going to happen across a bunch of different industries as well, is we're going to start to see more of these custom trained models that are specific for certain tasks that work really well when paired with an agent harness that is designed to help them achieve that task in the best way possible. And that is what you have with the Cursor agent harness and the Cursor Composer 2.5 model. And so is it the best AI coding model? Well, it's not necessarily the best when it comes to quality, but when you look at it across the board of quality versus time to actually complete the task and the amount of money that it costs, it's setting a pretty high bar and a strong argument for being the best AI model at coding. And the other part that's interesting about this is that they specifically trained this model together with SpaceX AI and using the Colossus 2 data center to combine the data and training techniques from Cursor with the compute power that has been offered by X. And this is a partnership that's really going to set them apart from Anthropic and OpenAI, and not only make them competitive with those leading models, but make them almost the best option in the AI coding space. Now, I'm going to jump into Cursor in a second and show you how to get started using Composer 2.5. It's pretty straightforward. We're going to build some features in an app that I'm working on at the moment to show you what it's like when you actually work with Composer 2.5, but I also want to highlight a bunch of other features inside of Cursor which you might not be aware of that actually makes it one of the best tools for AI coding at the moment, even comparable to OpenAI's Codex, I think. And I think a lot of the features actually inside of Cursor are actually better suited to AI coding tasks than what you would get from Codex. Whereas the Codex desktop app and the Claude desktop app are trying to be applications that cross a bunch of knowledge-based work, Cursor is really laser focused on being the best AI coding environment possible. So if you're building software and applications with AI, there's another strong argument here that Cursor is the actual best place to do that. This is not sponsored in any way. I just think Cursor is doing an incredible job at really focusing on the AI coding industry specifically and building a tool that is very capable for that one type of task. So let's jump into Cursor, see how it works, build a couple of features, and show you around Cursor as well so that you can get a sense of what the workflow actually looks like in practice using Composer 2.5. So this is the cursor agent view, and you can click back to the editor window here. And if you have the editor window open inside of cursor and that's where you work, all you have to do is click the agent view in the top right hand side of the editor window and you'll get access to this agent kind of interface. Now I think you can pretty much work in the agent interface inside of cursor almost 100% of the time, with the exception of using extensions where you do have to do that inside of the editor view because that is a closer mirror of a VS Code kind of type environment. But I'm going to show you how to start using Composer 2.5 in the agent view here. I mean, it's pretty much just as simple as you open a project on the left hand side. So on your project, like very similar to a lot of these apps, Codex, the Claude desktop app, you have your projects on the left hand side. You can click new agent, start a new agent inside any of these projects, and you can see the agents that are currently working in any of those projects at a given time. You also have the options here for what projects to work in, what branch you want to work on, whether you want to work locally or in a work tree or in the cloud. You can shift tab to change the mode as usual, and you can select the model down here, which is set to Composer 2.5 fast. Now you can click edit to turn off fast if you want to disable fast for this. By default is set to fast, and that does cost a little bit more, but Composer 2.5 is incredibly fast, incredibly efficient, and a very high quality compared to Opus 4.7 and GPT 5.5. I've been testing it over the last day, just running it inside of my existing projects, and I haven't honestly noticed too much of a difference between Composer 2.5 and using Opus 4.7 or GPT 5.5, even for creating plans and doing front-end design. Now, I would still use 4.7 for doing front-end design, and I would still lean towards GPT 5.5 for doing any sort of back-end or architectural work, but generally, I think Composer 2.5 is a great all-around daily driver kind of model for everything. And the other thing I want to show you inside of Cursor here is the sort of workflow that you can use when you're working with Composer 2.5, and actually why I think Cursor is really up there with Codex in terms of the interface for people developing and building with AI. And there are some aspects to Cursor that I actually like more than Codex as well. So for the purpose of this, I'm going to be making some changes to this app here, which I'm building at the moment, which is called Scribe, which is basically a simple desktop app for writing markdown files in a much cleaner, more user-friendly view. I personally don't like writing markdown files inside of an IDE, even inside of Cursor. I actually just prefer to look at markdown files and edit them in a much nicer view like this. So I created an app to allow you to do that. So you can see here, I've got this folder open for this Scribe project that I'm working on here. I've got the PRD here. It just makes it a lot easier to read through rather than having to use the IDE to read through your markdown files. I've also created basically an ACP setup here with Claude code running in the background, so you can make edits to this document using this prompt field here and actually just change whatever you want using Claude code. So if we say, let's change this to X, like you would basically just say what you want to change in your document and allow Claude code to change it for you. All it does is let you edit markdown files with a very simple AI interaction and also allow you to edit the markdown files yourself in a much nicer user interface. So what I want to try and add here is basically adding in an alternate font for some of the parts of the UI here. So I'm going to go over, now this is going to be a pretty simple task, so I don't think we have to write a plan for this, but I'm going to go through the process of writing a plan here inside of Cursor just to show you what the plan view looks like and how I do my workflow inside of Cursor. So let's switch this over to plan, and what we're going to do is we're going to use the font Geist, and we're going to change some of these things to use Geist. So I'm going to change this top nav set of styling controls here, where you can change basically the styling in the markdown file. And I'm also going to change the folder names and the subheadings on these files on the left hand side here to use Geist, as well as this element in the top right hand side, which basically is a flexible kind of like stat block for your markdown file. So it gives you how many words, how many characters, the reading level, and when it was last saved, so that you can see exactly what's going on. And we're going to change that to use the Geist font. So let's go back over to Cursor, and I'm just going to say, create a plan to switch some of the fonts in this app to use Geist from Google Fonts. I'd like to change the top navigation styling controls, the top right document stats in the document view, and the folder names and the file subheadings in the left-hand navigation to Geist as well. So let's send this off to Cursor Composer 2.5. That is going to write a plan for us. As you would expect from any of these tools, it's sending a couple of different agents here to do different tasks before it's going to put the plan together. What I really like as well is you have this view down the bottom in Cursor where you can see the agents that are working. And then when it creates the plan here, you're going to see what the right-hand panel looks like. So Cursor is now asking us some questions here as well. For top navigation styling, the app shell top bar is icon only. The text-based top bar is the editor toolbar. Should Geist apply to the editor toolbar only? So we're going to do editor toolbar only. Formatting bar in the document view. Yep. And what I like about Cursor here as well is that you have these questions in line rather than having to go through like kind of a carousel of questions. In the left nav, should the file name's primary title say IBM Plex Serif? So yes, only the preview subheading uses Geist. We're going to select continue there. Now with the plan that we have here loaded in Cursor, one of the really nice things about the way that Cursor does plans is that you have these other elements included in the plan as well, rather than just a straight markdown. So we have these mermaid diagrams here, basically where it's outlining the architecture, where the font is going to fit in. We've got the current state using IBM Plex Serif, and then we've got the implementation steps here as well, basically where it's going to change it, the files that are going to need to be changed, verification, and you also get an outline of the to-dos that this is going to go through as well. So the tasks step by step that it's actually going to do, and you can add a new task to this if you want to, so you get full control over everything to do with the plan. I think this is probably the best planning view out of any of these kind of super app tools like Codex, the Claude desktop app, and Cursor. And so once you're happy with that, you just click build. So we're just going to build that. It's going to go through these 5 to-dos and actually set this up for us. And you now also get a view of, if you use Cursor in the agent view, you might already be familiar with this, but I really like Cursor's UX for the right-hand panel. Codex is incredibly good as well, but what I love about the right-hand panel in Cursor is that you can essentially add as many tabs as you want here. You can see I've got GitHub in a web browser here, which is just running a release that I'm doing for this desktop app already. I've got my terminal here, which is running this desktop app locally, so I can see anything that's going on in the terminal. I also have my file viewer here, so I can go into any of these files and make edits to the files as well. One thing that is missing from the Claude desktop app especially is the ability to edit files inside of a project, and I feel like it's something that's massively missed. And I also have access to the plan here, as well as the changes that are being done in this branch, the ability to view the PR directly, which basically shows me the full view of this PR and any checks that it's gone through. This is the release checks that have failed here basically for this release. And you can also access the canvas, which is a way of organizing all of your documents or PR reviews as well. Now, I love this flexibility of being able to figure out exactly what you want to see in the right-hand panel inside of Cursor. And I also love the workflow of being able to see the PR directly, see any checks that PR has gone through, address any issues, and then merge the PR directly from your Cursor interface without having to go over to GitHub in a web browser. You can actually just look at it in a browser here if you really want to, or you can just look at the changes here and then commit and push those changes if you want to. Now, I am not a developer, and I use this all the time. It's been a really, really great workflow for me building with AI and learning the process of how PRs work, how to do code review, how to actually build features, how to run your app in the terminal, how to review these plans, and how to edit any files in your project as well. And if you want to condense that, you can just go back to the agent stream here, and you can directly commit and push to your GitHub repository from the agent chat here. And now that this is done, it's also updated the design.md file here as well, which is what I'm using for my design system. So that is keeping everything concise and consistent. So you can see now we've got Geist being used for these styling headings at the top, which is great, for these reading stats in the top right here as well, and for the subheadings on the documents on the left, and the folder names as well. I think this just breaks up the app a little bit so that it's not super like all of these serif fonts just like across the entire app. Actually makes it feel a little bit better. So now I'm going to update those fonts across some other areas in the app as well. And that is basically how to build with Composer 2.5 and how to use the Cursor agents view with the right hand panel to build things in any projects that you might be working on. Now, this is just a little change here that's just done basically a styling change. It's nothing massive, just a styling change in this app. So there was a high chance that Composer 2.5 was actually going to do this correctly. But as I mentioned, I've been massively impressed with Composer 2.5. If you're using using Cursor already, I'd highly recommend switching to Composer 2.5 for a lot of your tasks, just because of how much cheaper and faster it is for the same level of quality. You're going to get tons more out of your subscription plan if you're already a Cursor customer. And if you're using Codex or the Claude desktop app, I would also recommend just trying out Cursor if you haven't tried it before. You don't have to switch. There isn't a best tool out of all of these apps. All of them work incredibly well, but if you're thinking about how can you get access to some other AI models and use Opus 4.7, GPT 5.5, and Composer 2.5 together, then Cursor is a great way to do that. And if you're familiar with Codex or the Claude desktop app already, you're going to be super familiar with the Cursor interface, and there is no reason why you can't use multiple of these tools together depending on the type of work and the type of projects that you're doing. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how Composer 2.5 stacks up in the benchmarks against other leading AI models from the frontier labs like Opus 4.7 and GPT 5.5, and helps you understand exactly how you can use Composer 2.5 inside of the Cursor agent view and how you can build a workflow around all of the other features inside of Cursor. Now I'm going to be doing another video breaking down which of these super apps between Anti-Gravity, Codex, Cursor, and the Claude desktop app is the best and which one you should be using. But ultimately, all of these are incredibly powerful tools. They all have their strengths and weaknesses, and they all use the same interface patterns. And so even if you just learn one, you're going to have familiarity across all of these different tools to be able to jump between them as and when you need, based on the needs of the project. And if you are building with AI and you want to launch a product or an application to real paying customers, I've got a community helping people do just that over at school.com/AI apps. We've got over 250 people building with AI and launching real applications, and you can find out more by clicking the link in the description down below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.